In the headlines, with $5 million invested in tourism so far this year, overseas marketing reps are challenged to step up promotion efforts. Dominica to host the second OECS Cycling Championships in July, and Prime Minister Skerrit takes his message of climate resilience to the 18th Conference on Theology in the Caribbean in Suriname. I am Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fenced pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, source market representatives visiting Dominica were told at a tourism summit that they will have to adopt a greater drive to push promotion of the destination. The marketing representatives who came from France, Germany and Canada presented their 2018-2019 marketing plans for Dominica at a tourism summit on Friday. Tourism Minister Senator Robert Tong, in his remarks, says marketing representatives should be trying their best to let the international community know that Dominica is open for business.
Hurricane Maria has forced us to reevaluate our strategies and programs in an effort to restore and rebuild confidence in the tourism sector. I am sure our market representatives visiting us today would have watched the destruction carried via international media with shock and I guess awe, and assume to themselves, hey, how is this country going to get back on its feet? These images were hard to dispel from the minds of the viewers. It therefore means that our marketing strategy post-Hurricane Maria must be effective in carrying the message that Dominica is open for business. We were battered, but we are still beautiful.
So far, 21 tourism sites, 4 hot water spas and 40 accommodation properties are opened. Tong says all is not lost in the tourism industry.
Our natural sites and attractions are open and still pristine. Our waterfalls, dive sites, hiking trails are still some of the best in the world and ready to receive visitors. To our market representatives, we therefore expect you to use every avenue available to you to push Dominica's message to the world. To our local stakeholders, tour operators, hoteliers, community tourism groups and others, all is not lost, and your government stands committed to supporting your efforts to rebuild and promote your business.
In related news, a $5.6 million investment in the tourism industry so far for the 2017-2018 financial year. The tourism industry is picking up the pieces from $54 million in damage and $191 million in losses. Permanent Secretary for Tourism, Karim Prevost, says authorities have been working with a post-disaster tourism task force in addressing the hurricane's impact.
And really most of that expenditure would have been post-Hurricane Maria. Under community tourism, we would have been engaged in a number of rehabilitation projects and also some new construction to the tune of $1.1 million. Now, tourism site enhancement, as you're aware, most of our tourism sites were damaged during the storm. Once we had gotten our trails cleared, our reception facilities rehabilitated, we continued our focus on the new projects that we had planned for the year. So we would have spent $1.2 million on cleanup, rehabilitation, and some new construction during this financial year.
Prevost says most of tourism's budget was focused on cleanup in the city and the coastlines.
That really puts us at about a total investment of $5.6 million. Now, in a post-Maria environment, this is critical for us because it means that the budget that we had prior to Hurricane Maria was maintained, both for marketing and for tourism infrastructure. And we really would like to thank the government of Dominica, the Ministry of Finance, for ensuring that the investment in tourism remained, even with all of the other priorities that government has at this time. And we are also, and as the minister said, very pleased that our marketing budget of $12 million was not touched, that we were able to access that full amount for tourism.
In other top stories, Director of Trade Marthan Walter is promising that the division will embark on sensitization campaigns to make the consumers more aware of their rights and privileges.
His comments against the backdrop of consumer complaints on the increased cost of a number of items after Hurricane Maria. Walter says the ministry has undertaken sensitization campaigns in the past to make consumers aware of their rights. He noted, though, that consistency is key in empowering the Dominican consumer.
Sensitization and information and education is an ongoing process. Well sensitized enough, you will never be well sensitized enough. It has to continue. As to the work that we have been doing, we had a sensitization effort in 2016, and it was massive. We had a truck and we had a hi-fi system, and we went all across the country distributing consumer-related materials on their rights and the rights of suppliers, the rights of consumers and all that. And then we topped it off with celebrating Consumer Rights Day. So they are sensitized, but I think there's always a need for more sensitization, more actively, and that the Ministry of Trade will take on board as we move forward.
In March this year, Prime Minister Skerrit announced a further waiver of duties on building material to help Dominicans rebuild post-Hurricane Maria. Walter admonished business places which insist on taking advantage of customers despite the leniency by government.
I keep getting those complaints from consumers, and some of the consumers come here and they are very irate. They are not irate because they are unmannerly. They are irate because it hurts them inside, and while they're trying to build back their homes, they feel exploited. I had and that's why I spoke to the product bundling. It's a bad habit. It's an anti-competitive practice, and that is because I had someone who came to the Ministry of Trade who wanted a simple guttering. They're being forced to buy things that they don't need. It's unfair, and we don't need to do that, and all over the world it is frowned upon. And so that is just my appeal. Let us ensure that we offer a fair price to the consumers, because government has done its part. And at the end of the long day, they come back to the government on what more can you do?
The extended waiver on building materials runs until the 19th of June.
In other developments, a major road project is scheduled to get underway in Mont Prosper soon. Minister for Public Works, who is also Member of Parliament for the Roseau Valley constituency, says half of the road work had been completed on the main road to Mont Prosper, but Hurricane Maria halted the progress.
In terms of, a lot of trees fell, the road was blocked, and then we had the fear of the foundation of the road breaking completely, because here is basically sheer cliff and is the only access to Mont Prosper. We are going to shell the area, and the aim here is to widen this road, put in all the safety features of it, and of course get a lovely two-lane road coming up to Mont Prosper. And I think we're going to start that very soon.
There is also significant road rehabilitation ongoing in Coptall.
These projects are all related. In the Coptall area, if you allow the Coptall erosion as undertaken by the Queens River, which is the Roseau River, it has been undermining there for a number of years. If you allow it to continue, it will be a problem for us, because your same Mont Prosper Road, the Wharton Waven Road, which is where, and this is what we're trying to do here right now, if we don't stem that decay there in terms of the erosion that's taking place, and some of the properties, sad but true, they've been built on the riverbed, the river path, if you want to call it that. Moving forward post-Maria, we have to be taking those things into consideration, because it's costing government a significant amount of money to come in and train rivers, retrain rivers, put the necessary rock, the boulders, the barriers to protect roadways in the Roseau Valley.
Dr. McIntyre also gave an update on Charles Avenue, the road which leads from Goodwill Road to Princess Margaret Hospital.
We are just about to, as you can see, commence the asphalting of the gateway to Goodwill. We are at about $3.8 million, just under $4 million, with some variation, of course, adjustments to the project. But I think that's a great day for us. You can see here, this project was a project undertaken by Offshore Marine. This project was funded by the road levy, the road tax, as you may want to call it. And as I said earlier on, people must feel a sense of ownership of this project, because their money actually contributed to this project. So we're looking at ownership. But right now, we are just about to end it in terms of we're going to go up till about this weekend. By Sunday, I was told that this road will be motorable and we can really use this road properly.
Dr. John Colin McIntyre was visiting various road projects in the Roseau area earlier this week. You are watching the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for more after the break.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001 275-5003 today.
Welcome back. The Dominica Olympic Committee and the Cycling Association are teaming up to host the 2018 OECS Cycling Championships on the 1st of July.
President of the Cycling Association says Dominica's successful hosting of the 2017 OECS Cycling Championship has led to the island hosting the second championship to be held next month. An appeal has also been made to all Dominicans to buy in to the event and to help truly make it a national occasion.
When an organization is having an event and it's a national event, it becomes a national event for every other organization and not just the organization hosting it. So therefore, we want to see football coming on board and helping, and all the other associations. As long as you're part of the DOC, I believe you should assist in making sure the activity turns out to be successful. And once it turns out successful, I believe Dominica turns out successful.
Charles has also appealed to motorists to show greater respect for cyclists on the road.
I am begging everybody, including the cyclists, to wear proper safety gears, but more so, motorists, persons driving the car and the trucks and the dumpers. When you see people cycling, give them a little space, because we do not want anybody to get hurt, and we do not want the sport to become even more dangerous.
Meantime, a representative of the Dominica Olympic Committee says it's a proud moment for them and the Dominica Cycling Association.
For the first time on the international level, we have had our very own cyclist, Bram Sanderson, competing at the just concluded Commonwealth Games in Australia. Yes, it was history in the making for Dominica. While young Kohav Baron has been making great strides in the local arena, we have also just fully financed his participation at the OECS Cycling Cadet Race in Martinique, as you would have heard from the Cycling Association president. I say congratulations to the Cycling Association for setting the pace in sports in Dominica. With less than 2 years on their scene, they have proved themselves. That is what our associations are here for, to provide the support and full support to the athletes, while in turn, we at the DOC provide our affiliates, the associations, with the most needed assistance required to facilitate this.
Leading telecommunications provider Flow has supported the Cycling Association from the start.
We are proud to be a major sponsor of the activity, not only of the Cycling Association, but also of the championships coming up. We are supporting both in cash and in kind support, as we've been doing as well throughout the various trainings, or what do you call them?
Races.
Your prep races, your qualifying. Were they really qualifying races?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Your qualifying races that you've been having over the past few months, we made the effort, to try our best to support, provide some prizes, whatever the case might be. And, oftentimes I would listen, and it really, really has been something exciting to listen to. And I really look forward to seeing, though, on July 1st, to coming and being a part of the activity. I want to encourage the ladies, though, to get involved.
Yes.
Get other ladies, get involved, yes, do your thing, and of course the young people as well. but as a company, we're really, really happy to support and to be a part of this. We want to encourage the Dominican public to come out on July 1st, come out, line the streets, view the race, and I think it's from Marboy to Portsmouth and back. View the race, support our Dominican guys. We are convinced that our two from our 10 will be in the top 2. Okay, so let's encourage them and hope that that is really going to be the case. So we really just want to wish everybody well, and of course, I won't leave here without asking you to make Flow your telecommunications provider of choice and to choose us when you're making a decision where telecommunications is concerned.
Cycling fits perfectly into sports tourism, a fact that the Minister for Tourism has his finger on.
The government of Dominica obviously is very committed towards supporting sports, and obviously there's definitely a linkage to tourism, and that's why you have the word sports tourism. I don't know why everybody puts so much pressure on me to explain what sports tourism is. But basically, in layman's terms, it's an opportunity to marry sports and tourism. We have a beautiful country that has all sorts of facilities, not facilities, but features that can be used. And obviously we have cycling, we have lovely hills and mountains, we have some very nice roads, we have some nice potholes too, but I'm sure you can have a fantastic time on those roads, and it can train you obviously for the bigger places. And the government is committed, and obviously through waivers of duties, especially when the guys come, maybe waivers of different fees when the person have to bring the bicycles. Okay, obviously, when you have to bring in something you're supposed to pay, but obviously the government will assist in terms of waiving some of those. And I'm sure in speaking with the government, maybe one of the things that you can try to push forward to is especially, and as you said, through the cycling association, that persons who are members of that association can get some type of waiver or reduction on duties when they bring in the specific sporting items. Again, we need to get not only the government has to do their job, but the private sector too has to assist. This is not an easy event. I'm sure it costs a lot of money. It's a huge event, and the association needs the support of everyone. As for Diana says, many companies have had a rough time, but in the end, all of us will benefit from this. So do your best to assist in making this a reality.
And the minister is also challenging the tech companies to help make this event more exciting by providing devices to track the riders along the route.
I want to encourage the youth to jump on board. You don't have to have the perfect bicycle, but you can start somewhere, because all of the guys in here, they didn't start on the perfect bicycles. They started somewhere. Start small and grow yourself up until you get to the top. Nothing is impossible unless you don't try. You have to try. I want to congratulate the committee for doing a fantastic job. This is not an easy task. Unfortunately, many times you have 100 people in a group, only 20 of them are going to be doing all of the work. Don't lose hope, continue pushing forward. You're not only doing this for yourself, you're doing it for the others. And like the Rotarians say, it is service above self. And you can get some young guys to get them off the road, prevent them from going and doing the wrong things. And this is something that can help them move forward in that way.
Prime Minister Skerrit told delegates at the Caribbean Theology Today conference in Suriname that countries could disappear if we lose the battle with climate change.
The Prime Minister says the time for talk and negotiation over climate change has passed, and it's time now to take action on our practices and behavior if we are to pass on this earth to succeeding generations. At the 18th Conference on Theology in the Caribbean, Prime Minister Skerrit mentioned the need for champions to fight against global warming and pollution. He updated the gathering on progress towards building back Dominica in a more climate-resilient way.
By the end of July this year, CREED's first draft plan will be published. In its current state, our plan rests on 3 pillars. 1, building resilient communities. 2, building resilient networks. And 3, building resilient income streams. In creating resilient communities, we are focusing on what a community needs for survival if it were isolated for 4 weeks as a result of a disaster. When we first consulted experts, many zeroed in on food self-sufficiency. Well, Dominica was one of the most food self-sufficient countries in the Caribbean. Yet one of our first tasks, post-disaster, was to airlift food to communities cut off from vehicular access. Our lived experience has taught us that what you grow is important. Tubers survived, and above-ground crops did not. In addition to food, storage of water and medical supplies is critical, as well as the manner in which community teams are organized for rapid response.
Mr. Skerritt also spoke of waterproofing the economy.
It involves making our agriculture and tourism industries more resilient, and also promoting diversification into new, more durable sectors. Exporting geothermal energy via undersea cables to Guadeloupe and Martinique, or exporting individual professional services like paralegal, medical diagnostic, and video editing services down a fast broadband connection would mean that even if the physical landscape was demolished, income could continue to flow. International donors have responded positively to our vision. They have expressed interest in helping us to realize our goal to become climate resilient.
The Prime Minister noted that while many donors have pledged significant sums to the effort, much more is required as building resilience is costly.
Shelter managers are heading into the 2018 hurricane season better equipped to handle their managerial duties.
That was the aim of a shelter managers training and review course which took place earlier this year. In addition to the training is a new document to collect data for central government and the formation of a shelter managing team.
What we sought to encourage, and we're encouraging since Maria, is what we call a shelter management team, as opposed to one or two individuals. We're looking at a team. So you have a team of people who will be expected, and those people include shelteries as well, who will be responsible for the number of areas that are required for comprehensive shelter management, shelter reporting forms. You know, we have developed that because we recognize clearly we had fallen short in some respect in 2017 following Maria. So we have developed those forms for the 2018 season, and so the shelter managers will have that form, and all they do on a daily basis, you know, input that information so we can feed it back to the EOC or to the authorities so that they can have that information as to the persons who have been sheltered.
Toussaint says this year, though, there will be fewer shelter managers, not only because of reduced numbers of emergency shelters, but because of the experience post-Hurricane Maria.
There are some shelter managers whom I felt really, they were overburdened. They had a lot to do. I mean, they had to control, they had to look at security, they had to look at supplies and food for the shelteries and all of those things, and that in itself posed a tremendous challenge for those shelter managers. Shelter management is not an easy thing, you know. You have to keep records. You have to ensure that the shelteries are safe. Their health and their safety is important, and that is the role of the shelter manager.
The acting local government commissioner pointed out that the composition of buildings being used as shelters has changed over the years, and there has been a significant reduction in the houses being offered to shelter people during natural disasters.
I want to highlight it because not often you get people offering their homes, and you will see we have a significant reduction though. I mean, in 2 decades ago, we had a lot of homes being used as shelters. That has significantly reduced now to just 18 homes. And because of the fact that people feel that, you know, sometimes people just come to the home and they do not want to leave. Second thing is the homes are damaged. And how do I get assistance when the homes are damaged and that sort of thing? So clearly, we have recognized that.
Despite the challenges to homeowners, government is appealing to Dominicans whose houses are strong enough to allow their buildings to be used as shelters should a weather system threaten the country.
And 9 months after Hurricane Maria, a lot of devastation left in its wake at the Dominica State College is still very much evident. 19 of the 21 buildings at Dominica State College were severely damaged by Hurricane Maria. College officials say that situation has been exacerbated by an absence of skilled workers locally to undertake the re-roofing project. Consequently, government has had to bring in over 70 skilled Cuban workers, some of them civil engineers, to undertake the first phase of State College re-roofing project. This phase of the project focuses on the lower section of the campus, which comprise buildings constructed by the People's Republic of China. The UNDP and Engineers Without Borders provided the funds to re-roof 6 of the 8 buildings needing repairs.
I must say I've got to give a heartfelt thanks, sincere thanks to the Cuban ambassador, Mr. Ambassador Wang, and of course our Prime Minister, who facilitated the arrival of the Cubans. We have 80 Cubans on site because, as you know, Dominica right now is, we have one of the problems we have in reconstructing is lack of skilled labor. So through the intervention of the Cuban ambassador and our Honorable Prime Minister, we were able to get from the Cuban government 80 skilled workers. That's comprised of 76 workers and 4 civil engineers. So they are on the project now for us. Yeah. We have a deadline. We hope that we can meet it because we're a little bit late in starting for June 30th to make sure that all the roofs are covered. As you know, we're in a hurricane season right now, so it's important that we get those buildings covered as quickly as possible.
More on that in a subsequent newscast.
There are signs everywhere. Pay attention whether you're male or female. Visit your health center to get screened. It's a preliminary test to determine if you are exposed to the HIV virus, an STI, or tuberculosis. Some people who are HIV positive also have tuberculosis. But there's hope. Tuberculosis can be cured. And yes, you can live a full life with HIV. Talk to your doctor. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB, HIV. Encourage everyone to get tested.
To end the news, the headlines again. With $5 million invested in tourism so far this year, overseas marketing reps are challenged to step up promotion efforts. Dominica to host the second OECS Cycling Championships in July, and the Prime Minister's spirit takes his message of climate resilience to the 18th Conference on Theology in the Caribbean in Suriname. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend.